Hello everyone, welcome to our PEMF workshop. This is an opportunity for you to learn about your intelligent magnetic resonance stimulation device, if that's the one you have, or the Omnium One. So my name is Robyn Benson. I'm a doctor of Oriental Medicine for 24 years, which is hard to believe. And for the last 7 years, I have loved not only upgrading my practice, but almost every single person's lives that have been touched by using this technology, including my own. And if any of you have seen our 2 webinars that we did, it helped me reverse a lifelong issue with sleep. You know what, I thought I would just take one more minute to welcome you into the living room of Santa Fe Soul Center for Optimal Health. We actually built this center and opened our doors in 2005, and everything was consciously created. And we're standing right in front of our prayer wall that represents all healing in all spiritual traditions. So there's this incredible frequency. This is what our message today is about, bringing healthy frequencies into your field. So we have created that environment. So every single patient, every single client, every single friend and family member that walks in the door really feels welcomed. And so again, we are just thrilled that you're here with us to learn about this exciting technology and how to use it with great ease and not to have any stress about it at all, because we're here to show you how to do it. And I'm joined here with...
I'm Thomas Myers, Robyn's clinical assistant here. Yes, we love the PEMF devices that we have, and we have quite a number of them. The 2 that we're going to be demonstrating are Swiss Bionics products, the iMRS and the Omnium One. And there's a lot that these things do. I know for those of you that have purchased them, you may have considerable questions about some of the more specific applications. We're going to try to cover that today, as well as just the general operation, the how-tos, how do you turn it on, and how do you get from point A to point B to get through to a treatment. So we hope you enjoy this.
Yes, and I just want to mention, this particular device pretty much can be used for everything. There may be 2 things. They say that it's best to, if you're pregnant, not to use it. However, there are a lot of MRS users who've had babies, but we have to say that. So if you're pregnant or if you have seizures, those are the 2 main, really the only 2.
And electronic implants, though, that's
right. There's
probably
if you
not so much
happen to have a pacemaker, check with your, the actual manufacturer of the pacemaker to find out if it's okay to use this. So those are really the only 2 precautions. Your animals too. So what we're saying for you is also good for your animals. There's actually a device that's made for horses, so you can learn about that. You can just go to the website. But for now, we just want to take this hour to focus completely on how we use this every day with our patients, how we use it in our individual lives, and also for specific indications. We'll spend a little time at the end to say if you have pain, some type of arthritis, or if you have headaches, what are the different settings? And Tom will go through that as he reviews the iMRS right now. And then, as I mentioned, we'll show you how to use the Omnium One second.
Okay, now we're going to talk about the actual operation of the PEMF equipment. So everything begins with the console. The console obviously has an on-off button, so you're going to hit the power button first. The console goes through a boot sequence, and then there are various options from there as far as setting the time, intensity, and then, of course, whether or not you want to set the organ clock to a specific time of day, and then we'll go into a little bit of that later as well. And there are other settings, presets, if you have that option, and other applicators such as heart rate variability, and also there's a sound and light component, which is really, really awesome. So we're going to show you how to use all that as well. So we're going to talk about some of the different applicators. Obviously, what you're seeing here is the full body mat. The full body mat has 6 copper coils, tightly wound copper coils, that produce the magnetic field. It's a very low intensity, low frequency magnetic field that mimics the Earth's magnetic field. So this is the important thing to consider when you're talking about PEMF. You want something that's low frequency and also something that pulses. And the purest magnetic fields are made with very tightly wound copper coils. This is one of the few machines that actually incorporates that technology, which is something that NASA developed. The Whole body mat is great for everyday use, twice a day, whenever, whatever you want to use it for. It conditions the entire body, upregulates mitochondrial function. We talked about that in the webinar. Really just a good battery charger for the cells. Now there are a couple of other applicators, such as the pad. We call that the pad. And this is very good for a more localized area, such as the midsection, intestinal issues, low back. You can put it behind your head to treat the brain. If you have inflammation or pain in the body, this is actually really good because it incorporates a very specific waveform that is very good for reducing inflammation.
I just want to add, I'm just going to give you some indications and ways in which we have advised our clientele to use this. For any of our men over the age of 40, or pretty much for any man or woman, if you find yourself on a computer on a day-to-day basis for many hours, just sit on it, literally. That will be a great antidote to all the electromagnetic pollution that's around your field. But especially for men with any type of prostate issues, it will be very, very helpful if there's inflammation, as Tom mentioned, in the area, to actually help affect the mitochondria production, so you're producing healthy cells and healthy energy and restoring the body back to normal.
The other applicator that's very similar to the pad is the probe. This actually also emits a very particular waveform that's geared towards inflammation. So this is very good for even smaller areas such as an elbow. See, if I was treating my elbow, you would just put it right here, shoulder, you put it under your arm, hand, and you can put it behind your knee. Or if you have some cohesive wrap or an ace bandage, you can attach it or adhere it to an area. The field emits in all directions, so you don't have to point it at something.
Let's
like
let people
your
hear
tooth.
that, Tom. That would be a perfect time to do that.
Okay. We're going to start it up, and we're going to use a Gauss meter, which picks up magnetic fields, so you can hear the waveform being produced.
You ready? Here we go.
Go ahead. So you can hear that. Maybe you can see that. This is the waveform being produced. And if I'm putting that up against my jaw, let's say I have tooth pain or jaw pain or a headache, you can see that it's
and
actually
listen how
working.
it goes right through the face, too. How do I get push this button, right?
Good, take it out of sleep mode. Yeah.
So
So it's over here, but it's registering over here. So it's actually going not only through this part of the face, but all the way to the other side. It emanates 3 feet in either direction. So it's a fairly powerful waveform, even though, again, it's low intensity, low frequency. It does have a range, a therapeutic value, range value that's fairly significant. So you don't have to be right on top of it. People have questions. If I put it under my mattress, is it okay? As long as it's within 3 feet of the body, you're getting a treatment.
I just want to mention that my husband, when I first made this investment 7 years ago, had 2 tears in his rotator cuff. And he ended up, he's on the computer quite a bit. He used some Coban tape, and he taped it right on that area where he had significant pain. He did this literally for only 3 or 4 days, and it helped to heal his rotator cuff. I mean, it's amazing. He never had surgery. He had been to a surgeon, had an MRI. And so just to show you, this is so powerful. Again, like Tom said, amazing for jaw issues, tooth pain of any sorts. And I have to mention that John Gray, the author, was the one who introduced me to this particular technology, to the iMRS. And he never even used the full body mat when he completely got excited about this technology. He had a really bad tooth infection, and he just used this probe and could not believe the relief that it gave him. You can use this safely on children, you can use it on knees, you can use it on your animals. So this has a lot of value. And sometimes people get so accustomed to using the full body mat, but they forget the incredible use that you have, because this pretty much comes with every purchase of the iMRS.
Yes, the therapeutic value of the probe and the pad it's immense. And, the full body mat's great. You're going to get everything you need from that. But if you have inflammation, if you have an area of the body that may need a little additional support, I strongly encourage you use them. If you're doing a detoxification protocol, for instance, sure, the full body mat will help to detoxify all the cells in the body, but the pad over the liver will help to reduce inflammation in the liver and help to detoxify the liver in addition to that. So using them both would be better than just using one. The other thing that some of the units come with, if you were lucky enough to get these, is the sound and light.
Let me just turn that off.
Give that a stop, and right here.
Okay.
And it may be in the wrong one.
Did I do it in the wrong one? I took them out because I was.
Let's see. What is that you've got?
Okay, this is headphones.
Okay.
Make sure you have it. This is good that this happened right now because if they're not
Yeah,
right.
put them in the wrong one, it won't work. There you go. So, we've got, and you may be able to hear this, music and a binaural beat beneath the music. And binaural beats help to synchronize brain waves. So this is used with the lights. The lights flash in conjunction with the binaural beats to synchronize both hemispheres of the brain and to produce certain brain waveforms depending upon the time of day. So there's alpha, theta, beta, or what is it? Beta, delta, beta, alpha, alpha, beta.
So beta is
Beta is awake, alpha is meditative. I think
theta and delta.
theta and
sleep.
delta. Delta is deep sleep, beta is not so deep sleep.
Right.
Alpha is waking up, beta is fully awake. So
Exactly.
depending upon the time of day, this will produce a waveform appropriate to what your brain should be producing.
And you also get different color options, so you can choose red, green, or blue. And basically when it's programmed for the time of day, Tom mentioned the Chinese clock, which is a pretty sophisticated system that's going on whether you know it or not. But pretty much most people wake up in the middle of the night, right? Between 1 and 3, that's liver time. So one of the ways that many people, including myself, have been able to restore their cycle of rest and to sleep through that time rather than to be awakened is to do the mat right before you go to bed. And you do it let's say this after 8 o'clock at night, you're in the delta stage. And so from that time period, it will help you restore those healthy frequencies in your liver meridian and in your body for that matter. So you will experience deep restorative rest. But this is also an important time because this is where we're producing our growth factors.
Yes, absolutely.
Very, very important. It's really our body's time to digest and rest and to get ready for yet the next day.
If you're not in the right brainwave state or frequency while you're resting, other systems in the body aren't fully functioning, restorative systems. So it's important to really be achieving these full states of relaxation, deep sleep, and even while you're awake, to be fully awake and productive during the day.
So the ISLRS sound system, you can actually control the volume on this. And if you prefer to put in your own iPad or iPod music, you're welcome to do that too. However, as Tom mentioned, these are specific frequencies that's part of this music that's helping to retrain your brain. Because so often we run our beta, that's the awakened state, thinking all the time. And it's really cool that the more that you use this, you start to activate your alpha, your your alpha,
And your data, it does activate your
true.
data. You can access your data.
Your alpha, your delta,
And your
and your
theta.
theta waves. So
Yeah.
people who have ADD, ADHD, people who just are finding themselves stressed all the time, the more that you use this system, it's remarkable the shit that will happen. So regularity with all of this is not meant to be used once a week and then, I'm going to do it again 7 days later. The more you use this, like the mat, just at least 2 times a day. It's like brushing your teeth for your cells. You keep your cells healthy, you keep your body healthy. And what's also important to mention here, and I was reminded of it because when we had, this is still on, this is still what's plugged in, not the body mat. So if you're on the body mat before you go to sleep and you have the sound and light, you're getting the frequencies, you're getting the healthy PMF frequencies from the mat while you're also getting the sound and light system. So in this case, you can see the sound and light's on and we're still getting we're still getting the frequency. So you could use the sound and light in just the probe, or you can use the sound and light in just the body
Pad or the body mat,
pad.
right. It's important to know you can't use the three applicators together, such as the probe, the pad, and the mat. Rather, you have to pick one, but you can incorporate that with the sound and light. And there's one other applicator that really only works with the full body mat, and that's something called heart rate variability, or in this case, it's called the iMRS. And what it is, it's an ear clip that you would attach to your earlobe, and it reads your heart rate. Okay, we're going to talk about the sound and light now. We discussed this a little bit previously. We're going to go into a little more detail. It is an applicator that works independently of the electromagnetics in the mat, pad, probe, and the HRV. It does correspond to the frequencies generated in the sawtooth wave based on the organ clock. It's those four frequencies that we discussed, the theta, delta, alpha, beta frequencies. Though rather than being generated at a certain time of day, they're actually cycling through the lights and the sound in addition to having a binaural beat. And the idea is to balance out the frequencies in the brain and to create relaxation specifically, or more alertness, vigilance in people that maybe don't have enough or are too stressed out. So it kind of gives you a little bit of everything to help balance out the brain, the hemispheres, the coordination, the communication between both hemispheres. It's a really good addition to use with the electromagnetics. Okay, well, now we're going to talk about something that is quite new for Swiss Bionics. It came out probably about a year and a half ago. This is the Omnium One. Same basic thing as the iMRS, but it's a much more mobile or portable version of the iMRS. I have it all assembled here. We're going to go through it step by step. Essentially the same platform. We've got a whole body mat. We've got the pad, which is shaped slightly different. And instead of a probe now, they decided to go with what they call the spot. For joints, it's a little easier than the probe was to actually access or interface a joint. It's butterfly shaped now, which I think is a better design. It's my personal opinion. They also have a sound and light. Now the sound and light is a little different. And for those of you that get new sound and light systems with the iMRS, they are also like this. So we're going to go over some of the differences. They no longer have headphones. They no longer have the goggles as a separate unit. It is now all in one. The main difference is that instead of a console, we now have an Android tablet, which is really cool, and a digital video converter. So the signals that are generated from the tablet can also, need to be sent to this converter so that it can be translated into the waveforms that are used in the mat, and also as a means of interfacing other applicators, because there's very limited accessibility on a tablet in terms of the types of adapters. So they, as I said, basically the same thing, but it's much more sleek. It folds up into a smaller footprint. The mat's a little thinner. It still has 6 Tesla coils, tightly wound copper coils. The whole system basically folds up and fits into a bag that you can take on an airplane as a carry-on, versus the iMRS that fits into a bag that would have to be checked in because it's far too big to put in an overhead compartment. The iMRS is also something that needs to be plugged in order for it to operate. Well, this does as well. There is a battery in the Android, so it can run independently of a 110 outlet power source. for up to, I think, about 3 hours. So you could treat yourself remotely. So you could be in the car and be treating yourself with presumably the pad, or on an airplane. So you could be sitting on this or sitting here with your back here. Really great for portability. It was designed for people to take onto airplanes now, to use in their cars, or to travel easier with the overall device as a whole. The sound and light, much sleeker. It's now a flexi goggle with earbuds. Now, some people are getting very confused about where the earbuds are. When you get this, these are tucked in to the corner. There's a little spandex-like material here in the corner. And when you get this, you would not think that this thing has any headphones or earbuds or anything. So you have to make sure that you come to the edge here, reach in, you should feel the earbuds, and they'll pull out. You got maybe about 4 inches of play. And then when you have the goggles on, you just put the earbuds in, and that way you can listen to the binaural beats. We'll get some close-ups of this in a little bit. I think, again, a much better design, especially if you're doing heart rate variability with an ear clip. It's hard with goggles, that sort of thing. It's just much easier, much more comfortable. Okay, we're gonna talk a little bit about the operation of the Omnium, as far as some of the tablet functions and also the way the applicators interface. The mat, the pad, and the spot have a pin interface, which you can see right here. And there's really only one way it can go. You'll feel it seat if you move it around. And once it seats, then you can screw it in. So there it goes. Just pushing it around. Now I'm screwing it in. Now it's ready to go. The other interfaces are something akin to a USB or the multimedia digital interfaces that you see. And that's a way of basically hooking up the tablet itself and the sound and light. So there's one for each. This is for the tablet, this is for the sound and light. And you can see right here, this is where it goes into the tablet, and the power supply goes right here. The way that this works, obviously like any tablet, there's an on-off button. And then the main screen comes up, and then you want to unlock it. You can see here it's charging. It's got the time of day. You slide, and now you're up to your desktop. Now the only two functions you're really going to need, at least to operate the applicators, are iMRS 1 and Omnibrain. Omnibrain is the sound and light. iMRS 1 runs the pad, the mat, and the spot. When it comes up, you will see where it says enter, so we hit enter. And then we got the start screen, which is similar to the iMRS. You can see here you've got the different applicators. Right now I have the mat plugged in. And in this case, you can only do one at a time. With the iMRS, you can have all applicators plugged in at once, but you can't use them all at once. But in this, you can only have one plugged in at a time. Now, the way you operate this, it's very simple. You just kind of like on most pads, you have a finger slide. And that allows, whoops, I hit the home button, by the way, like on any pad or tablet. If you hit that, you go home. So I just went home. So iMRS 1. Now we're back. Here is where we set our intensity, 400, down to sensitive. So it's up to you. Time, 0 to 60 minutes. On this, you've got 60 minutes for any Omnium model you buy. There's no differentiation between a professional or a complete or a basic in terms of time settings. They're all 0 to 60, which is nice. You hit start, and it starts. It begins. Like with before, we've got a pulsating electromagnetic field. Same thing, which is good. That's healthy. Let me move that away because it's noisy. Now, let me stop that for a second. As with the iMRS, you're certainly going to want to go through and set the basic parameters of the tablet, such as time of day. If you slide down, you'll see options here for setting brightness, your basic tablet options, your time of day, location, because it has a map function. Down here you have other settings, which are app settings. You have factory settings, user settings. If you want to do preset programs like we did before, tablets are great. You just go back if you want to go back, or hit home. We've got options here for the brain, but I need to bring up the Omnibrain for us to do that, and I will do that in a minute. These other options down here, these are obviously options for like on most Androids, you have your volume control. That's home down here as well as this button. So I'm back to home. You have increase volume, decrease volume, go back one. We're going to exit this system, yes. The reason I'm doing that now, I want to take you to the Omnibrain, which is the sound and light. Once you get one running, in other words, the mat running, the pad, or the spot running, you can start the sound and light, or vice versa. You can start this first. So we're here. We've got various systems or start functions. Here you've got options for music on, tones on, binaural beats or tones. Music does not come preset in this. Rather, you have to upload your own. They learned that not everybody liked the soundtrack in the other one. So you have a little micro SD card here you can add music from, which I recommend. The other options here are simply, and this is cool, setting the intensity of the colors. So you can set the amount of red, green, and blue, or a combination thereof, and even the brightness. And this down here is the color you're creating with these slide switches, which is kind of cool. So you can create purple, you can do all kinds of things. So now the color options for this are a lot more advanced. I mean, it's not just red, green, and blue, but any combination thereof, which is really cool. And then, of course, you can set the brightness here. Once you've determined what color you want, you hit start. Then you can either hit home here or home here. It's still running. Go back to iMRS 1, hit enter. See, I want a really strong session. Turning it up 60 minutes, 400. Now I've got both the mat and the goggles running. The ISLRS and the mat running at the same time. Pretty simple. These on the side, again, are like those preset programs, the iGuide. If you just want a relaxation setting, you just hit that, performance. It goes right into it. And all they're doing is changing the intensity and the timing to determine what would be the best protocol for that. And of course, as we talked about, those brain frequencies, those 4 frequencies built into the sawtooth wave. the theta, delta, alpha, beta, and it's going to change with the presets as well. So again, the options, Omnibrain brings me back to Omnibrain. It's a quick way to get over there from the iMRS screen. So you can change your settings and go back to this screen. That way you don't have to go all the way home to go to Omnibrain. The settings here are basic tablet settings. You have all of your apps. This is an app-driven system, so in the future there will be apps that you can use with the Omnium, with some of these functions to track your fitness, to maybe, they said they're going to have some HRV apps. They're going to maybe have some, not only with regard to the changing of magnetic field intensities, but some of the more common HRV programs that allow you or encourage you to adopt certain breathing patterns, breathing strategies, and then track your progress, which is really awesome. You can put movies on here. You can, as I said, put music. You can surf the web while you're doing your treatments, which is really cool. We go home. You can see there are some links to websites that are specifically relating to PEMF. If you want to know more information about them, you can use those. If you want to check your email, you can set up your email account, which is awesome. And then some other basic settings, functions. You have Wi-Fi capability, so you can certainly connect to Wi-Fi. So there's a lot, as you can see, that this thing will do that the iMRS won't. It's really cool. The thing is, you really have to want this kind of portability, because right now there are, you can't do HRV at this point. But it is coming. So it just really depends on your on what you prefer. Okay, I'm going to talk a little bit more about specifically the sound and light and a few other the options here that you have on the iMRS one. So let's go again, go home, go to the Omnibrain. When we start, you can see, hopefully, the light's flashing. A little different than the other one. And as I said, if you want to control the intensity, the slide switch here controls the intensity of the light, the kind of light, that you create. I'm creating a blue light. Now you can see that's changed. Or pure red light. So there's a variety of ways of creating the colors that you want, and you can see how they manifest here. Again, earbuds in the side on that inside that little spandex-like material. Tones on, music is on, although I don't have any music installed. Again, little micro SD interface. You can put your music on that way, and you would do it right here. You see the little speaker at the bottom. That's your music library. That's where you would install your music. Some people have emailed me questions specifically about what some of the preset programs mean. The relaxation, performance, activation, sleep regeneration. Basically, the relaxation program would be something to do, something to use any time of the day. It doesn't really have to be done at night. If you're stressed, that's a really good program to run. Performance would be one that you would run maybe before an athletic event, or maybe even before you're traveling, because that's stressful. Any kind of stressful event coming up in your life where you need to be on. You need to be performing at the top level. That's one you would use. Although a lot of athletes will use that. Activation is similar. That's something that you would use when you want to have a little more energy. Maybe before a meeting, before a test, if you're having a test, because it activates the mitochondria. Performance is going to be a little more geared towards energy production. Sleep, obviously, is something you would do at night, and regeneration is really the one you would want to do post-activity.